London, Chelsea beat Manchester United 10 at Stamford Bridge on Sunday as the Blues breathed new life into their Premier League campaign. More rivalry renewed. Conte v Mourinho. Alvaro Morata's second-half header was enough to beat Jose Mourinho's men, with United starting the game well but then pinned back by Chelsea after the opening 30 minutes. The win sees Chelsea move just 1 point behind second-place United heading into the international break, while Manchester City's lead at the top of the table has now been increased to 8 points. Here's what we learned from a lively encounter in West London. Morata a menace even though he was adjudged to have fouled Phil Jones early on as the United centre-back skanked a clearance into his own net to score a spectacular own goal. Alvaro Morata had set the tone early. The Spaniard was a menace for United's defence all afternoon. After his comments during the week to the Italian media which seemed to suggest he wasn't enjoying life in London, Morata needed a big display. He delivered. Morata's towering header from Cesar Azpilicueta crossed the fifth time he and his countrymen have linked up this season for a goal and an assist, won the game for Chelsea to lift some of the growing gloom around Antonio Conte's side following their 30 shellacking at his Roma on Tuesday in the Champions League. Cesar Azpilicueta has provided 5 assists for Alvaro Morata in the Premier League this term, the most by one player for a teammate. Duo. Optajo at Optajo. November 5, 2017. Morata had missed chances at Roma and at Bournemouth in recent weeks, but despite his wastefulness he has 8 goals in 15 games for Chelsea. Not a bad ratio for a striker still adjusting to life in the place. More impressive than his goal was Morata's ability to bully United's defence. In the first half he charged into Jones with a good old-fashioned shoulder barge and sent the bustling United centre-back to the ground. At times this season Morata's inability to mix it up in the Premier League has been questioned. As a direct replacement for Diego Costa, a man who mixed it up for a living, Morata was said to be soft. On Sunday he was not with the only blot on his copybook, getting it all wrong as he raced in on goal in stoppage time when he only had David De Gea to beat. United too concerned with Chelsea. Eden Hazard was a marked man on Sunday, with Phil Jones, Ander Herrera and Eric Bailly rotating the man-marking job on Chelsea's playmaker. Despite early promise where Romelu Lukaku had a smart turn-in shot saved and then Marcus Rashford nodded just over, United were never in the game after the opening 30 minutes. Don't let the scoreline fool you. Mourinho was ushering Bailly to step high on Hazard when United had the ball in Chelsea's half from the very first whistle. Once again, in a big game, United's approach was too defensive, and this time they didn't get the result they wanted. After a draw at Liverpool and a 10 win against Tottenham Hotspur, Mourinho's defensive masterclass didn't work against Chelsea. Maybe if he focused more on getting the ball to Lukaku and Rashford and involving Henrik Mkhitaryan in the game, they'd have forced the issue more than they did. Lukaku was a spectator for most of this game and will no doubt receive plenty of criticism for once again not delivering in a big game against a top 6 side, but he had little to no service. Then again, this was a Mourinho team set up to play away from home in a defensive formation with Ashley Young and Antonio Valencia at wing-back, 3 centre-backs and 2 holding midfielders. What else did we expect? Conte continues to make Chelsea tick. The last month has been a long one for Chelsea. That's because they've been without N'Golo Kante. In the 6 games Chelsea were without Kante in October, they only kept 1 clean sheet. Kante, the reigning PFA Player of the Year, returned from a hamstring injury on Sunday and dominated midfield. The French international was everywhere, snapping at the heels of Lukaku and Rashford whenever they dropped back and stepping into defensive gaps when Gary Cahill or Azpilicueta surged forward. He also kept Nemanja Matic, who has been a pivotal figure for United since he transferred from Chelsea in the summer, quiet as the diminutive Frenchman dominated in midfield. We all know how important Kante is, but his first lengthy injury spell of the last 2 seasons since he arrived in the place proved it. Chelsea are a completely different team with Kante in midfield, and their defensive solidity is down to him. No one player makes a team, but one player can make a heck of a difference. See Kante, N'Golo. Follow at JPW_NBC Sports. If Miguel Almiron spends just 1 season in Major League Soccer, it will still be a major win for the league and his side Atlanta United. More Altidore. Kyrgyzstan react to wild Turin-Bulls clash. Rumors have swirled over recent weeks regarding the Paraguayan's future, with several top sides in Europe reportedly expressing interest in the Atlanta attacker. Now, Metro is reporting that Italian giants AC Milan are pursuing Almiron, who has lit up MLS in his lone season in the US. Previously, Almiron has been linked with the move to the Premier League, including London side Arsenal, while AC Milan's biggest rivals, Inter Milan, have also reportedly shown interest. The 23-year-old Paraguayan scored 9 goals in 30 games this season for the expansion side, while adding 14 assists for Atlanta, which was tied for fourth most in MLS. Almiron was purchased prior to the 2017 season by Atlanta for an astounding $8 million fee. However, the Eastern Conference side will likely make a significant return on their investment. According to the report, Almiron is currently being valued at around $18 million, which could more than double Atlanta's purchase. Follow at Madrid Football. The Three Lions are already down one Tottenham star heading into their upcoming friendlies against Germany and Brazil, but Gareth Southgate will have to adapt without two more Spurs players. More Swansea's Makelele takes job managing Belgian side Eupen. Harry Kane and Harry Winks have both been ruled out for the matches after picking up slight injuries during Sunday's 10 win over Crystal Palace. Tottenham won't run the risk of Kane re-injuring himself, after previously having a hamstring problem, while Winks suffered an ankle injury against Palace. The Spurs players joined Dele Alli as contributors that won't be at Southgate's disposal, which has prompted the England manager to call up West Bromwich Albion midfielder Jake Livermore. Additionally, Southgate is waiting on the status of Gary Cahill and Jordan Henderson, both of whom are looking to gain fitness ahead of England's important fixtures. Follow at Madrid Football. Claude Makelele wants to continue his path as a manager, and his future plans aren't at the Liberty Stadium. More Slaven Bilic fired at West Ham. The 44-year-old Frenchman has left Swansea City after just 10 months as an assistant coach with the Welsh side to take a job as manager at Eupen, who currently plays in Belgium's top flight. Eupen sits last in the Jupiler Pro League on 10 points through the club's first 14 matches of the 201,718 campaign. Makelele had previously joined Swansea after the club hired Paul Clement in January. The former French international got into coaching directly after finishing his professional career in 2011, jumping into the managerial side with Paris Saint-Germain as an assistant. Makelele also managed French side Bastia briefly in 2014, winning just 3 of his 13 matches while in charge. Follow at Madrid Football. So now that we have a final list of MLS semi-finalists, we can make one final prediction for Dave Sarachan's USMNT roster versus Portugal before Tuesday's expected announcement. The interim boss will lead the U.S. into Leiria on November 14, and members of quarterfinal losing New York Red Bulls, Vancouver Whitecaps, Portland Timbers, and New York City FC are in play for the roster. More Martino running for USSF presidency. Portugal has announced its squad here. We projected the U.S. 23-man roster last week, but will have a few changes following the MLS quarterfinals. Our guess: 3 new players into our projections, a mainstay from Portland and 2 uncapped Red Bull products. Goalkeepers: 3 Bill Hamid, Brad Guzan, Ethan Horvath. Changes: none. Defenders: 8 John Brooks, Matt Miazga, DeAndre Yedlin, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Matt Beasler, Brandon Vincent, Matt Polster, Aaron Long. Changes: RBNY's Aaron Long has a bit of pound versatility to go with his CB skill set, and he'll take the place of Jeff Cameron, who is suffering from a head injury. Midfielders: 8 Weston McKennie, Kellen Acosta, Paul Arriola, Lyndon Gooch, Alejandro Bedoya, Tyler Adams, Darlington Nagbe, Jonathan Gonzalez. Changes: Pulisic is reportedly out, and that's fine because the Yanks would love to get a look at the Red Bulls' Tyler Adams. Room will also be made for Darlington Nagbe, and well, guess he takes Kellen Rowe's spot instead of Alejandro Bedoya. We're also moving Jonathan Gonzalez of Monterrey ahead of Danny Williams, as Bedoya and Nagbe will have the experience leadership angle covered. Forwards: for Bobby Wood, Josh Sargent, Aaron Johansson, CJ Sapong. Changes: we suppose Jonathan Lewis NYCFC or Haji Wright Sandhausen could fit here over Sapong, but we'll stick with our gut instinct. Follow at Nicolas Mendola.